Stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you all very much. Okay. Just 1 minute, Lance. I want to read what we're doing today, and then I'll call on risk management. The Nueces County Commissioners Court will hold a budget workshop on Tuesday, June the 17th, 2014 at 8:30 a.m. in the Commissioners Courtroom located on the 3rd floor of Nueces County Courthouse, 901 Leopard Street, Corpus Christi, Texas. The court will receive limited requested budget presentations related to the 2014-2015 budget. And this morning, our first presenter is Risk Management. Lance, thank you. Thank you very much. Hey, we're on.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Okay, good morning.
Everyone else. Judge, I'll be brief. I'm sure you've read our package and our request. Our big request for this time is an additional person in our department. As you know, we've made great strides. Risk management, in addition to the job descriptions, both for myself and Martha, we have taken on a lot of additional jobs. We're the Tier 2 chemical coordinator. We manage now the MS database online for all county entities. We actually do defensive driving for the county now, for the 300 employees that drive, and we manage the driver database, which means we have 300 plus employees. We have to make sure get their driving every year. Meet the requirements for our TAC auto insurance so they can drive on our policies, etc. And as you know, I've taken over doing the building valuations through Marshall and Swift to make sure that we get accurate building prices for negotiating our insurance. In addition to doing that, I also do the on-site safety surveys, so I get to each building about once or twice every year and able to make good assessments of that. Initial problems we also have is if Martha and I were to happen to have some type of, God forbid, accident where one of us was out for any extended period of time, the one pony show is not going to work in there, sir. I mean, there's just too much paperwork, too much management, and with the additional programs, one of us can't hold down the fort for probably more than a week to 2 weeks. To give you some idea of additional counties, Nueces has 2 employees in risk management, and we have about 1,300 employees. That gives us about 650 employees for every person in the department. San Patricio County, just as an example across the way, has 2 employees and an assistant for 300. That gives them about 150 employees per person. Montgomery County was our best example. We work with them a lot, and through TAC, because they're roughly about our same size. They have just over 2,000 employees, and their department consists of 7 in risk management. Now, I kind of don't count their 2 property casualty personnel, so I'm using 5 as the number for them. With 5 personnel, they run about 400 employees per risk management person. They actually have a director, an assistant, a safety officer, and 2 people that handle workers' comp claims. So that's a good representation of a county our size and how big their department is. How many employees are there? They have 7, sir, but only 5 are really risk management. 2 handle property and casualty for the county. So I'm using 5 as kind of the basis. So additionally, I talked to TAC and had them give me some numbers as far as other counties about our population size between 1,300 and 2,000. Tarrant County has 4 in the risk management department. Dallas has 5. Denton has 3. Williamson 5. Bell 3. And Cameron County has 3. So we're a little understaffed in comparison to our representative counties in the state that are about our size and number of employees. And of course, the city has a little bit more money than we do, but their actual risk management department is 13 personnel for 3,000 employees, which gives them a number of about 230 employees per risk management person. So we're looking to add someone. We requested a senior clerk, someone at the level that's got to have enough skills. It's not just a filing job or a paperwork job. They have to learn to be able to use the TAC system, to be able to put in claims, the process, the quick forms, to be able to do the defensive, or the driving forms, the driving claims with TAC. So it's not just I guess, an entry-level clerical skills job. And we figured out that roughly a senior clerk was roughly $14.93 an hour, and with that benefits, we estimated about $38,500 for that new position. But we also need to think about the fact that Miss Martha, who's amazing, has been here for about 18 years, I believe. And she will, at some point, be retiring in the next few years. And we need to think about defense in depth here and having an employee that we can bring in now and train and get up to speed to assume her position. And then my goal would be to fill the clerk's position with someone new and then, continue to cross-train. But right now we have very little defense in depth. If something were to happen to anybody in risk management, it would be really hard to, again, manage the department with one person. So, kind of what I'm putting forth here.
Okay.
And again, I think the department as a whole is making
I don't know. Commissioners, do you all have any questions for Lance? You all have done a great job over there and continue to do a great job. We appreciate it very much.
I mean, we continue to, our program is focused not just at the employee's safety at work, but safety of the employee at home and off-duty hours, because, we already have, limited personnel. If we lose somebody to an off-work accident, then we have more people having to do, or less people doing the same amount of work, and so we increase the risk of work injury. So we've kind of focused our safety program at work, at home or off-duty safety, and of course we're always focused on the public because we're all public servants, and we should never have someone in the public we serve in an incident or an accident. That's just wrong.
Yeah.
So we want to keep that safety awareness high, and we want to continue to push our safety program forward and keep that defense in depth.
Well, I like your safety bulletins. They're very, very good. I read every one of those, and they're very good. You've taken some time to do it right, and I appreciate it. I'm sure the commissioners appreciate it very much. So.
Well, we've cut our losses in 2013 to a tremendously low level from especially 2011, which that year we were almost 600,000 in losses, workers' comp claim losses, which was twice the state average.
Yeah.
So that was a bad year for the county.
Yeah.
We don't ever want to get back to that level. Of course, we're paying for it because it's really impacting our EMOD for one more year, and then
Yeah.
2015, I guess it'll be 2016, it'll come off, and we won't have to be paying for the past for a while. But we want to keep the awareness high, we want to keep the safety levels high, and the training levels high, and I think that offensive driving is being able to teach directly with the personnel as I put on the deck plates, because in addition to the defensive driving, we let them know that the risk manager and the department are associated in their welfare on a daily basis. And so I get to talk to the personnel on the deck plates, kind of one-on-one, or a few in the classroom, and it's making a big impact. So I've worked with Juvenile now and Coastal Parks and a few other departments, and it's having a good impact as far as us teaching defensive driving from our office.
Well, safety is everybody's business every day, and we know that. So, yeah,
It just
thank you.
takes
Thanks.
one bad
I know.
incident to
One accident. Yeah.
a multi-million-dollar claim for workers' comp, and that's something that's
Well, it can happen. Yeah. Questions? Anybody? Lance? Anything? Yep. Joe?
You mentioned Dallas has 5 in their risk management program.
Yes, for Dallas County.
And what were the number of employees that Dallas has, you know?
I don't have the exact numbers. Michael Shannon gave me those counties that were roughly the same size as us, between 1,300 and 2,000 employees. So they have less than 2,000. I don't have the exact number of employees in Dallas.
Okay.
So even if they had the maximum in the window that Michael Shannon gave me from TAC, if they had 2,000 employees in the county and 5 in risk management, they're looking at 400 employees per risk management person.
Okay. And then one county you mentioned somebody had, I don't know whether San Patricio or somebody
San
had
Patricio
2
has 3, and they have 300 employees.
Oh, but the one that had the 2 worker comp.
Montgomery has 7, but only 5 are really in risk management.
And 2 of those handle claims, work comp claims?
They work in property casualty. So Montgomery County has about 2,000 employees, and they have a department of 7, but I'm only really looking at 5 because of those 7, 2 do property and casualty, which we don't do in our office.
Okay.
So they have a director, an assistant, a safety officer, and 2 that do workers' comp in Montgomery.
Okay, that's what I was, two workers comp. Do you know how many claims they have?
No, sir, but just looking at the average numbers, they're about an average county according to Michael Shannon. If you need additional information, I'll be meeting with him, and I can get that additional information on the counties.
Well, no, I would think one of your bragging rights is that we don't need that many people to handle workers' comp claims because we don't have very high workers' comp
We have
activity.
actually a lot of claims, sir, but our workers' comp numbers have actually been good, and the claims now are, the severity of injuries has decreased tremendously. And I'm at the point now, I want every injury reported, because what we don't want is someone saying they're hurt, but they're okay, we'll fill the paperwork out later, or if I need to go to the doctor. And then we run into the issue, well, someone gets hurt on the weekend, and they come back on Monday and say, well, you know, I fell down last Thursday, but I really didn't want to go to the doctor and didn't fill out the paperwork, and now I'm not feeling good today. So I've been pretty stalwart in making sure any injury is reported immediately, and if it's anything like associated with a back, a twist, a sprain, I get them over to the doctor center immediately to get a baseline. So you may see the same number of claims, the same amount of paperwork, but you're going to see a tremendous reduction in the cost of those claims because we're quantifying and identifying that injury right then and there. As opposed, I hate to say it, but you do have some employees that are not as forthright as they should be in their claims, and it happens. And so we're trying to, the county should only pay for a work injury. Something that's not work-related shouldn't be covered under workers' comp. And so we're really good. Plus, being able to get every single injury, whether it's minor or severe, allows us to get trend analysis. And you will see some of my emails that come out when I start hearing about an increase in a certain type of injury. We'll do additional safety training in that area, send out training, do it with the loss control committee, but I'll also send out awareness emails, because if we see that we're seeing a trend and we want to cut that trend off before we have a severe injury.
Well, is that all?
Yeah.
Lance, I want to commend you because we kind of all thought we were doing great around here with workers' comp a couple of years ago and before you got here, because we were comparing that with what Nueces County did several years before that, which had to be triple terrible compared to now. But in your report, it says that in 2011, at nearly $600,000, Nueces County had gone from, was the worst county according to TAC per capita for workers' compensation.
Yes, sir.
And this
Also
year,
the worst for automobile, and that's not reflected in there, but we had the worst for automobile claims in the state per capita as well.
well, that's just unacceptable. And so in 2013, we brought that down to 46,000, or you had brought that down to
And that's an estimated number. It'll probably go up 10 to 15% when the claims close out, but that was the number we had at the time from TAC just so far in the year. So we use that number because that's the only hard number I could get from them.
Well, you and Martha have done an amazing job bringing that number down, and that that's a huge cost to the taxpayers of this community, and I just want to say how much I appreciate the job that y'all do.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay. Nothing else? Well, Lance, thank you
Thank you, Commissioner.
very much.
Judge,
Thank you. Have a good day.
thank you.
For the record, I forgot to state we had a quorum as we began at 8:35 this morning, and now all members of the court are present. And I guess we'll wait a few minutes on Kevin. Okay?
Yes, sir, and if I may comment while you're waiting.
Yeah.
We do, originally when we put out our planning calendar, we had 3 days set aside for briefs. The request that we received is made it such that today's the only day I've scheduled departmental briefs. I do have a couple that said, oh, by the way, we really intended to, and I'll take a look at them down the line if we can put the, I would imagine before we get into the thing, we're going to want to talk to some other departments too, but for the time being, today will be the only briefings that we have for this until we get.
No more this week, then?
There's no more this week, Commissioner. This is it.
Very good.
I've got to go get a PowerPoint real quick because I was down there.
Sure.
Y'all think I'd be set for 9 o'clock or 9:30?
I'm fine. We're fine. The longer you take, the less money you get.
No, that's a secondary to the budget. It's just kind of some discussion topics on the related to the budget. I'm going to touch on this fee collection after we go through the budget. And it's going to be, sure. Oh, no, we're ready to go here. Good morning. Thank you all for having me here today.
Good morning.
I'm going to keep this just kind of real brief because we're really not making a whole lot of changes. I've got a request that we put in last year that we're resubmitting for this year on the motor vehicle side. But just kind of going through some things just real briefly on the 17,500 under the 5680 capital outlay. That request is basically for a bunch of worn out equipment in the motor vehicle department, floor mats, those big plastic mats that they're very expensive. They're about $5,000 for the entire department. They're gone or worn out. Large storage cabinets, some calculators, headsets, chairs that are worn out, and that sort of bit. And that's what that $17,500 reflects. Under the reduction in the salaries, the temporaries, the decrease reflects temporaries used in property tax and motor vehicle departments. Last year we made a budget adjustment. Thank you very much for helping us out with that. And what we found though is we were able to, because the OPEX equipment that we purchased the year before, it's actually really has helped us streamline our both motor vehicle and property tax, and we're really not needing to see that amount on our property tax side. We're going to see a reduction in the number of temporary staff needed because of that OPEX equipment. So we have really realized not only some savings, but some tremendous efficiencies with that new equipment. So that's the reason why that's been reduced. Don't know if we have the mail specifically listed on here. The mail is going to be addressed. Let's see here. Ralph, what line was that? The mail. We didn't touch the mail. Okay, so the mail is the same as prior. One thing we have to watch on the mail, though, is we are seeing, because the increases in the number of residents in Nueces County, and also because with the election years, we're going to see some changes in that coming up, and we're also seeing more mail and postage coming out of motor vehicle department because the increases we're seeing in that area. Estimated postage for 2014-2015 is about $125,000. And just a reminder on item number 5300, the RTL, that's our yearly maintenance fee for the equipment that we're leasing, so we really can't touch that. And then the other expenses is the contract with Kansas State Bank. Going into our capital outlay.
Yes, Kevin, your question. I noticed you'd estimated postage at $125,000, but
Yes.
You wanted to leave the budget same as last year yet? Is that?
No, we want to leave the postage as requested at $125,000 because we have the mail outs going out for the election and so forth, and that's we're not sending love letters to grandma. Those are hard costs that we're going to have.
On your cover page, you still have the $140,000. That's where I was. And I had reduced it to $125, but I wasn't sure that that's what you wanted to do.
We're doing 125. Yeah, it needs to be 125 for this year.
Okay.
The reason for that is because we're not doing a voter registration mail out this year.
Yeah. So it's reducing this year. It'll go up the following year though for 26 next year.
5217 should be 125.
125.
So that's a decrease.
That's a decrease, but it'll go up again the following year. It's just because we don't have that mass voter mail out this particular year. Going on the capital outlay, I'm going to go through these numbers, and I'm going to go through our fee collection, so kind of give you guys an idea of the fees and revenues that we generate in our department, and kind of a history of where that's been and where it's going. Still requesting at around $100,000. We had for the renovation of the motor vehicle department. We can't see. We're having some issues. Number one with security, and we're also just having some issues that our supervisors cannot see what's going on with those dividers that are up there. And secondarily, we need more window space because of our increased volumes that we're seeing and the increased numbers. Coming up here in March, which is the worst possible time TXDMV could have rolled this out, but they didn't choose this. The state legislature did. March 2015, we're going to the single sticker program. The single sticker program is basically eliminating the inspection sticker. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get an inspection on your vehicle, though. Those inspections are still going to be required, and TXDMV is coming out with rules for that. What concerns me is that people are going to forget to have their inspection. It's not going to show up on their system, so you're going to see a lot of registration renewals possibly being declined for no inspections. And so we're going to be seeing those people twice. People who can't go to HEB and renew their registrations, we're going to see them here because they're being rejected out there, and also because they're being rejected online. So we're going to see increased lines next year, no ifs, ands, or buts, because of this system. Number two, our volumes continues to increase, and I'll go through our fees here in a minute to show you just what we're collecting here at the county level as far as the income based off of those increases in numbers. But we really have to get this addressed because those partitions are very ineffective. They keep us from being able to see what's going on. It's a danger because people feel comfortable in those things. They stay there too long, and then number two, they tend to intimidate the employees, and the supervisors can't see it when that's going on, and sometimes things get out of control and people don't understand the rules and regulations we have to follow. And yeah, you know how they've got those walls that are kind of angled. When you go stand in those walls, you can't see across anything. Not only can my supervisors not see, but the employees can't see either. And it's also a tremendous waste of space. We could actually put probably 4 or 5 additional employees on that front line window if we had them to put there, if we were to eliminate those, because it's a ton of waste of space. Those things were designed back in the 70s when we had teletype and they needed all that space for all that stuff, and now it's just dead. It's dead, useless space. And we had a mock-up design that came up around $190,000 from an architect, and from experience with the Robstown remodel project, they had Robstown 163, and we wound up doing it for around, I think, 55. I think is what the ultimate. So kind of taking that same spread, and that also included removing the elevator shaft, which is optional. I can live with the elevator shaft if we have to leave it. It'd be nice to get rid of it because it's not being used in there. But it's I can live with it in there if we need to leave it in there just to cut the cost. But I need to get that where we can get that window straight across and separate our back office operations. Other smaller things on this particular budget: security cameras for property tax, security cameras for our Port Aransas office and for our Bishop office, and we've got some minor items in there, computer and some Microsoft Office Plus software licenses that need to be renewed for 14 and 15. So that's what I've got on the non-capital outlay. I mean on the capital outlay. The temporaries worked very well for us this past year.
Kevin, one before you leave capital outlay, have you taken a survey of how many computers in your department are still running Windows XP?
No. Ralph would know that answer. Ralph?
We have maybe 1 or 2 that we have XP. We did a recent computer purchase to update our property tax operations. This reflects computers that we need in our motor vehicle department. In the past, the motor vehicle department, the supervisors never had PCs. They just used their RTS workstations, which are owned by the state. And that the usage of those machines is strictly for RTS purposes. So they couldn't do Word programs. They didn't get email. So recently we did purchase computers. They got hand-me-down computers. So this is for the purchase of new computers. We've never purchased new computers for motor vehicle supervisors, and that's what this is for.
It's supervisors only, so I have email communication with my supervisors. One thing I want to put on your radar screen for future years that you need to be aware of is TXDMV is updating their computer software, and they're finally going to go web-based, which is great. It means we won't have to lease those computers back from the state. Bad news is you're looking at a potential purchase of about 26 computers for that motor vehicle department when that happens. They're going to get out of the equipment business. They won't stop it, immediately, but I want this on the radar screen for future years that when they do that, we're going to need to be looking at replacing that equipment because that possibly will go away as they phase those out over a period of time. And it would be best for us to phase those out quicker than slower because I don't have email communication with those employees. We have to do it through memos and so forth, and it's very ineffective. You don't even tell you how much of a waste of time that is to hand out 26 memos to those employees who don't have email access, and be able to communicate things efficiently. So the sooner we do that, the better. But that's not until the TXDMV rolls out their new software, and I think we're about a year out from piloting that. So it's coming, and it's coming pretty quick, and really impressed with the direction TXDMV is going. One of the other things we do need to mention that it could affect our budget in future years too, though, while we're on the subject, is I'm going to go through our fee collection here in just a minute, but the fee structure that's set up for TXDMV right now, it stops in 2015, and we don't know what 2016 is going to bring. And so that's going to be something we're going to have to watch during the legislative session to ensure, and I've talked to Tyner about this already, that we're going to have to make sure that we continue to get funded at the levels to operate make sure we're operating our facilities, and in this case we're going to do quite well from what you can see in the presentation going forward. But the increases that we're seeing right now are also justifying. I need additional employees. If we do the remodel, we're looking at the 4 senior clerks that you're seeing on this slide are to basically address those lines. The taxpayers' first experience with county government is always the motor vehicle department, and their opinions of how well or how poorly counties are run are going to be based off that first experience with the motor vehicle department. We touch every single driver in Nueces County here in our office, and we've got that place running as efficiently as we possibly can, and the lines continue. At least they haven't gotten too much longer, but they are getting longer. I mean, the wait times have not improved despite the efficiencies because of the increased traffic we continue to see down there. And I'm going to show that to you here in a minute. But the total budget we're looking for an increase is $127,309. And the good thing is that we're operating in the black. My department, I'm going to go through this fee collection report here. Is not a user of ad valorem taxes. We actually generate. If you'll go on to slide 1, we have 3 major fee types that run my office, both property tax and motor vehicle. We have the property tax related fees that we bring in from the taxing units in our per parcel budget when we do that, because we charge the taxing units for those. We have motor vehicle related, and then we also have our general services. And I'll go through those. Going on to page 2. Property tax related fees are the county commission, or think of per parcel, or we get our tax certificates. We have our mobile home tax certificates, and we also get very little interest on our accounts, but it is there. I think one of our accounts we get 2 cents on a sign off each month. Don't go spending that all in one place. Motor vehicle related, though, is really where we see the bulk of our income. Highway tax commission, we have the IRP fees, certificates of title, interest, mechanic lien. We have motor vehicle postage, because when people mail in, they have to pay that extra $1 for the postage. We have a red light renewal, which is our scofflaw contract. We have the city of Corpus Christi. We have sales tax, penalty fee, and the TERP surcharge. General services consist of beer, wine commissions, beer and wine license renewals, liquor license, coin machine. Not a whole lot, but we have some. NSF charges, interest, though minimal, auction certificate, voter registration lists, Xerox copying, duplicate, and printing fees. And breakdown right under there is the income from general services, which totaled in 2012-2013 of $150,751. If you go on to page 2, the motor vehicle related without the road and bridge, because road and bridge is a dedicated fund, so we pulled the road and bridge taxes out of that, because that's a fee that's dedicated, and so that we're not including that, was $3,744,447. And then on the property tax related by month, is our total income there was $1,105,572.
Steve, one question. Steve, does that $3.7 million for motor vehicle, does all of that go to Public Works?
None of that figure goes to Public Works.
None of that.
That was all pulled out because the Public Works is a key code 4116 and 4115, and that's your road and
Why
bridge
is it labeled
fees.
road and bridge if it's not going to Public Works?
It's actually it's labeled. I verified this yesterday with the auditor's office, and it's labeled as the Motor Vehicle Sales Commission's 4117. I don't know why on this report it shows that.
Yeah, we actually send more of the money over to Public Works than we're actually required by law. It used to all go straight into Public Works, but now it's coming through the tax, and we just continued to move over a portion of that, which is about $3 million.
Yeah, this $3 million here represents non-dedicated funds that that can potentially go to the general fund, and these are the fees that we generate, and it totaled for 2012 2013.
So this gets moved to the general fund then?
Sure does.
Yes. And this was just old description coding. Now that we show the money coming in, we'll make sure the proper descriptions on the fee so there's no confusion.
And they've updated on their system because I went and verified the codes yesterday, and it's the sales, the commission we get from the state for that is actually coded as such over on their systems now. We need our system because it was something that I was questioning for quite some time because we were trying to make heads and tails of it, but we did. And then so our total income for 2012-2013 was $5,802,008. That's the total income that we bring for the county. I'm not asking for $5 million, nor am I asking to spend all of that. But our operating budget for 2012-2013 was $2.8 million roughly. And then and one of the things I want to point out too is that we were seeing a pretty decent increase. We're paid in the arrears on our commissions for our motor vehicle departments. The commissions that we received from the prior year are always paid in April, but to kind of keep numbers together with volume, we left it in this particular way. But April 2013, our sales tax and penalty fees that we got from the state was roughly $2.4 million. April 2014, which we received this year, was $2.89 million for a total increase of $542,997 in just 1 year. We anticipate a very similar increase next year based off of our volumes that we're seeing this year, and so we're probably going to look at another, possibly $500,000-$600,000 increase over this amount next year. And so that it's one of the reasons why I'm asking for the investment in this department, because we're generating the revenues, we're operating the black. It's a one-time expenditure with the exception of the personnel, but we need the personnel in order to give good service to taxpayers in Nueces County.
I think I need to correct myself, Commissioner. Your question, the county commissioners every year, we have been transferring a good portion of that money out to the Road and Bridge Fund.
Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah, we're transferring out. This year we're transferring $3.1 million of that out.
Yeah.
And at one point in time, that was all going directly in there, and then when they shifted it to go into the tax as a general fund income, we can continue to support Road and Bridge out of that. So of that 3.5 motor vehicle, we're putting the majority of that that's getting
There's
transferred.
something that
There is a dedicated road and bridge. There's a dedicated fee.
It produces about $898,000.
It's
this year.
it's $10 per vehicle.
okay, and that goes directly to Public Works.
And so that's a dedicated fund. You can't touch it. It has to go to Road and Bridge. This is the optional that you can put it where you need to.
Yeah,
as
the court has been-
as elected officials.
What he had asked, we've been doing a budget transfer in our budget, moving $3.1 million.
And I think that's appropriate. I mean, I'm not.
Talked about the TIZ. Remember, we talked about how much money was available, and there's about $3 million that goes from general fund over to Road and Bridge. If it were to work out, we might be able to relieve some of that. So,
Okay.
yeah, okay.
And so, and that's the increases that we're seeing, and so we're not even asking. I'm not asking for all of those increases, but the permanent increase that I'm asking for is the employees, because we just have to get more employees to handle it. And a lot of, I think, fixing and overhauling that system down there so we can, with the straight counter, will speed up the process because people won't get so chit-chatty and they can actually get in there and go, when they see. And it also helps our employees to be able to see what's going on, see where the lines are and adjust. Somewhere down the line, too, we're going to have to get some kind of queuing system because screaming out numbers is just very unprofessional and it makes me sick. I mean,
Like a bingo parlor.
it does sound like a bingo parlor. Yeah, now, I priced them last year. They're ridiculously expensive. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I priced them last year, and the prices we're seeing is anywhere from $50,000 to $70,000 to $80,000. They're ridiculously expensive, but they can increase our efficiencies. And one of the ways we could do that too is by if we could figure out a way to get my operations all on one floor.
Couldn't we get those things they use at Water Street Oyster Bar
Yeah.
that vibrate and flash?
Well, those would probably be cheaper than the queuing systems.
That's a good way to go.
But
Yeah.
something. I visited some other counties. A lot of them have the electronic with the screens, and it tells you who's coming up, and it has a voiceover. But at some point, we're going to have to do something
went to
with
get
this.
my license renewed over at the state, and they have a deal up there, and the number is. I thought when I went in there I was going to be number 247, but I realized that their machine was stuck and they were calling out.
And that system was not cheap either. Because I think, was that Qmatic? Yeah, it was the Qmatic system that we talked to. There's several areas using it, and I'm going to check with my counterparts throughout the state to try to find out what they're. But I was shocked how
I'll
expensive
call
these
Brad
things are.
Lomax and ask him how much he paid for that.
But we really need to do something there too, because people, number one, people can't hear. It just sounds horrible. And then half the time, people, if we can't communicate, then we've got to do something with that.
On page 4 of his presentation, there are a number of security issues. Do you think, look over there where the cameras and all for the three offices. Is it? Yeah, in that, please. Yeah. Are any of those things below the 100? Any of those things there that we have money maybe to do that this year? Or do we know yet?
Well, Judge, this year we've spent a lot, even with just putting the furnishing in places, et cetera. So we're looking at very close to it. Right now, we're kind of, I think we've got it.
Yeah, I can tell you, Kevin, I understand what you want and what you're doing. We have some other expenses that are simply out of control in this county right now.
I understand.
And we're trying to balance all that to get to the end of the year. So if we can help you with some of these things, we'll try to do it before the end of the year.
Yes.
I understand that, and I know
Yeah.
we've had some pretty big projects going on in the county. And I'm proposing this for next budget cycle. We're gonna.
Everybody that I see on the street says, "Man, you guys are getting rich out of that Eagle Ford Shale." And I said, "Whoop, whoop."
No.
That's the city that gets sales tax. We don't get any of that sales tax, and you have to explain it. I have to explain it every day that
I do too.
the Eagle Ford Shale is wonderful, but county government standpoint, we're not seeing a dime yet till the property tax values are set, and that may or may not be directly affected by
Well,
Eagle Ford.
and really our mineral accounts are dwindling. They're not going up; they're going down. So it's. We're not in that play.
We appreciate what you do. I can tell you that it's a whole lot better than it was, and the people are very, very cool, very good, nice, and they try to handle everything they can as well as they can. And I've had a number of people express how it's more pleasant, and that helps a lot. And
It
so
does,
thank you.
and making sure. And
Yeah.
the main thing is we just want to. Like I said earlier, that's the public's first experience with county
Oh
government.
yeah.
And I think they should have a top. If we have a top-notch county government, and I think they should have that experience all the way through.
We thank you. Anyone had any other questions?
Yeah,
Joe?
I
Joe?
want to make sure I understood. You made a comment a little earlier. Since much of this is fee-based and fines and this sort of thing, you made the comment that your department is not general fund ad valorem tax dependent.
That's correct.
So you're saying that
We generate all of our own
that-
funds.
that your whole department is operated through fines and fees, and there's no general fund, and tax goes in your budget.
Based off the income we produce, that's correct. Now, we get paid out of general fund, yes, but my budget is $2.8 million roughly, and we generate $5.5 million in fees. That's not ad valorem tax.
But, it's similar to, all our fee collections.
Yeah.
The JP's collected, but, as the county has always operated, everything that comes in as revenue goes into general fund. And it's used for more than just,
Right.
office. What he's saying is, they generate in fees enough, that's more than what they've spent, but, in the actual uses, how we distribute the funds, how the Commissioner Court distribute the funds, the big collectors are the tax office, the JPs, and the county clerk's collections division, and obviously they don't keep all that money. That's used to operate, everything we have going on.
And it's a partnership, and it's the way we have to run. But the point is that we're not a user of those. We're a generator, not a user of those fees.
Let me ask you a question, Kev. If I'm looking at the capital outlay request form here, and you got the renovation of the motor vehicle windows, so 100,000. What can you live with right now? If, say, for instance, either the windows or the rest of the items. Say, for instance, we
Need it all. I mean, we need it all. It's
I
a
know you need
fairly
it all, but
minimal.
But for right now, I'm saying, of course, if we can find it this year, we have to help you out. I mean, and then come the budget next year. Well,
You're talking about in the capital outlay?
right.
Well, I certainly wouldn't do without the security, and those are minimal. Again, we're seeing a $542,000 increase in just 1 year. We're going to see that again next year. And I think there has not been any major investment in this department in years, and it needs to be renovated because it's affecting the efficiency of the department.
I agree with you.
And it's also it's a security problem. I mean, you get people in there who start yelling and intimidating employees, and the supervisors can't see it because those partitions block them off and they can't hear it.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but I'm saying that right now, from the security on down, which is almost $18,000, that'd be in the first step, and then see what we can do with the $100,000.
No, we need to do that. It depends on the level of service you want to give your taxpayers.
Sure.
If you want to continue with the long lines and so forth, then leave it as is. Leave it status quo.
No, we don't want to leave it as is. I'm just saying.
It's going to be, it'll ultimately be y'all's decision.
Okay. Thanks.
Very good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all for a good job. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, Counselor, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you? Thank you for being here. This is our county attorney.
Thank you so much for having me here. First of all, I want to thank you for helping us every year with our budget. We try our best. We're pretty much we're self-sustained to a certain degree. The rest, of course, we need your help and we appreciate it. We do get monies from the hospital district for one person's salary. We do collect bail bonds on behalf of the county, and this year, or at least the total so far this year, is over 3,000. And this, I don't have the last year's. I wanted to show how much we have brought in. But we work very hard to bring some monies in for the county. As well, we do get a percentage. Well, actually, it's 100%, but it's not by formula. It's not the whole 100% that we spend on employees in pursuing the cases on behalf of our client, which is CPS, Child Protective Services. We do get money there. So in addition to that, I do get money, supplemental monies from the state, and I do allow the attorneys to get some portions of that, so that helps a lot. So overall, we don't ask for much, and as you can see from our budget, we don't. Now, I do want to point out a couple of things, though. E-filing is mandatory by, and it's going to begin July 1st. And we have ordered and purchased some software that we needed, Acrobat, in order to make that change. We've done a run this last week and this week. We started last week and we're continuing this week, and there are some glitches. I don't know if we will be needing additional scanning equipment, and that's why I didn't include it in here, so it's kind of hard to tell. For now, I don't think so, but that may be just something that we are really going to need. I did, I put my wish list and my my capital outlay, which is, some desks, anything just to kind of change the environment and help with the morale, and so it's not much, but it is a wish list. But really, the necessity will be scanning equipment if, in fact, we're going to need additional scanning equipment. For now, we don't, but we don't know yet because it still hasn't kicked in totally. I mean, it starts July 1st, so we'll know for sure by then how that's going to turn out. So that would be the only thing that I would be asking for this coming year. I wanted to give you a little report of how we're doing. We, of course, we do have different kinds. We do pursue different kinds of cases. We do represent applicants for protective orders. We represent applicants in mental commitments. We do have the county does have an agreement with Rio Grande Legal Aid to split that, the protective order status. And then we also represent CPS in all those cases. We do in-house litigation. We do have some outside counsel, but it's not that much. Usually it's those type of cases that involves conflicts or involves not having enough resources. We're a small little firm, but we all multitask. We all do different things. The greatest thing, we have a couple of numbers to point out as to the different things that we do. For Child Protective Services for 2013, we opened 100 cases, but there's always leftovers, so we ended up closing for 2013 119. So that's why it looks kind of weird, but there's leftovers from the previous years. With regards to protective orders, we saw 352 people, and those, we handled some of them, and so did Legal Aid. Legal Aid handles Monday and Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and we do Thursdays and Fridays. And of course, if there's conflicts, then we pick up those as well. 86, on our behalf, 86 were granted. I don't have any numbers for Legal Aid, so the number is probably larger than that. On open record requests for 2013, we did 145. In just comparison to 2012, we did 188. So it did decrease a little bit. Advisories, in 2012, we did 146. In 2013, we prepared 162. So I'm a true believer in preventive law, and what that means is we try our darndest to advise our clients, including the Commissioner's Court or individual elected officials or department heads, making sure that they know to reduce the possibility of liability or to place ourselves in a good defensive posture so that if litigation does come, then we're in a better position. So with regards to mental commitments, in 2013 we did 196, so it was pretty busy for us. Regarding lawsuits, currently we have 20 pending lawsuits, and they're against the county or against county officials and employees. 3 of those have not been served yet, so it's really like 17. But 19 out of those 20 are the county. It's against the county and an official or an employee. In one case, the county has brought it as a plaintiff, and that's the MERS lawsuit. So that equals to 20. 16, again, out of those 20 are handled in-house. 2 cases, the Burnside and Cox, which are against the sheriff in our employment, those are handled by outside counsel with regards to the sheriff, but we are handling in-house with regards to the county on those 2 cases. The rest, Cheek, Forge, and MERS and San Patricio are outside counsel. There are no motor vehicle cases handled by TAC at this time. We do have TAC that represents the county on any motor vehicle type of case. 2 lawsuits are stayed in trial court pending a resolution of qualified immunity, which is Burnside and Cox, so it's still at a standstill right now. MERS is also stayed in trial court pending a resolution of the appeal in a similar case out of Dallas. 1 case was removed to federal court, and we're awaiting federal court's ruling on that. We have some cases on appeals. A great majority of our cases, we handle them, we get rid of them, but they don't go away. They go through the whole appellate process, and then finally they come back, and eventually those cases go away. But we do our very best to move them along. On the appeals, as far as federal cases in the Fifth Circuit, we have 4 of them. And in all 4, we in-house counsel handled those. And we had gotten favorable judgments on all of those. With regards to the state court, appeals in state court, we have 2 cases, and those are handled by us. San Patricio, of course, will be handled by outside counsel, and we're waiting on that appeal. 5 out of, again, the 20 pending cases are employment type of cases, and 3 of them are from the sheriff's office. 1 is the tax office, and 1 is the juvenile board. 11 out of those 20 are out of the sheriff's office. Anytime that you have a large department, there's usually going to be some liability, and it just comes with the territory, especially the jail. To date, 2014, we have closed 4 cases without liability, and it was handled by us, and we saved the county almost $500,000 on that. We've also, 1 also was with no liability, and that was handled by outside counsel, and TAC, of course, was also handling another case, and that was settled. That was 1 case. In 2013, as far as cases being closed without no liability, there were 6 of them, and we all handled those 6 cases. We settled 1 through mediation, and that was also handled by us. And that's all of this is 2013, and there was 1 handled by outside counsel, and that was involving the baseball team and that was a dismissal of the bankruptcy. We had to hire outside counsel because that was in Dallas. And so we're still trying to collect on that judgment.
Good luck.
And that's pretty much it. Now, I do...
Mara, what would be for last budget year, do you have the total outlay for outside counsel?
The amounts, I did not bring that with me, but I certainly can provide that to you,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, I'd like to see, maybe do a 5-year look back on what our outside counsel expenses.
And we do keep a record of that, so yes, we can get you that.
Okay, thank you.
And that's pretty much it. If there's any questions, we again thank you for all your support, and hopefully, we won't need any extra scanning equipment, but that's really the priority for us.
Laura,
Do you
thank
have
you.
a number on the scanning equipment?
No, because I need to see if it's going to be, I know that there's going to be some negotiation for scanners, across the county, and so I don't know if that's going to be sufficient, or we're going to have additional, and that particular vendor is going to provide some numbers at some time.
Okay.
Commissioner,
Yes, sir.
What is going to be your interface? Is it all cases are now filed with the district clerk?
Yes.
And so
Civil, all civil,
all civil.
yes.
Uh,
E-filing, mandatory by July 1st.
so, what is your interface going to be with the district clerk?
Our interface,
Right, or how is your e-filing going to work?
we need software, and we needed to get Acrobat, and that's the software that I have ordered. We were already doing mandatory e-filing in federal court. We already do that. So this is similar, but this is at the state level. And so we had to have additional, because every single person in my staff does the filing, whether it's CPS cases, protective orders, mental commitments, and of course litigation. So we had to add additional Acrobat systems in our computers. So we're waiting on that. For now, we're using the ones that we already have in place that we use for federal court. What happens is that, and we have done already a trial run with protective orders, one CPS case, and mental commitments. The CPS has a lot of documents. The bond forfeitures are not that many documents, and protective orders are a lot of documents. So it takes time. What we do is we actually scan them, file the documents, select the code, and then we have to call the district clerks so that they know that they're there, the documents are there in their queue. And so what they do is they review that all the documents are there, and then they approve it, and then it gets filed. Then we get something in return.
Sometime back, we had set up there was a fund set up for public records, and I think we had especially for juvenile cases, we had a dedicated person or a dedicated service for filing off campus.
And that's how they have it now. They and thank you for reminding me. Yes, I don't know where the contract comes from, whether it was the district clerk or the county, but yes, they have another company that they hired. And what happens is when we file it, it goes to them, and then it goes to the district clerks. So there's a delay in time.
This would probably be a good time to get that coordinated. I mean,
yeah,
it's.
I'm glad that you brought that up. Yes, there is an in between.
There was a substantial amount.
Are you fully staffed now?
I just lost my chief of litigation right now, and so tomorrow will be on the agenda to open that vacancy and put it out.
Who'd you lose?
Yeah,
Who?
Alisa Jackson.
Oh, really?
Atkins, yes.
Where'd you go? Away? Really?
She wanted to rest.
Expand her horizons.
Well, she has really done a good job.
She has. She was
Been
very
there
organized.
since I've been there, and
Yes.
so yeah, that's
We miss her, and
that's going to be a loss.
yes, it is.
It should be hard to replace.
It is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we wish her the best, and I know you do too. But golly, that's
How many years she been here?
In total, I don't recall, but she was with me a while back, and then she left. She moved out of town, and then she came back. But she came back as
about
chief.
the time I got elected. I know she's
Yes.
been here 6-7 years this time.
Yes,
So.
she's been a while. All my lawyers are all senior lawyers, and that's very important, especially because we're such a small little firm, and we all have history. We have history of county government and departments and elected officials, and that helps a lot in what we do, and that's why we get things done faster, because we're all in the know.
Well, I know the commissioners appreciate your responsiveness, because it's usually very good, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're very patient with all of us.
I'm a lawyer.
particularly Belinda, bless her heart, she has
And a
patience.
politician.
And a politician
Two
too,
good
but
marksmen,
yeah.
Any questions, the county attorney? Anybody? No?
Okay.
Well, good luck in
right.
replacing her. I know that's going to be a tough call.
Thank you.
Thank you
Laura.
very much, Laura. Hello, Miss Ida. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Turn your mic on
There
and
you
you're
go.
on.
Okay, sir. Good morning. I wanted to come in this morning to, first of all, say thank you very much for always giving me your support. And we have accomplished a lot since I've been here, especially when we moved into the library. And I'm very happy to say that we're cool now. And we have working air conditioning. So we've been cool. That's the best part about it.
Yeah.
And we have many things going on. We've been working really hard with the community and all of the county entities, the school libraries, and we're really trying to make an impact in our literacy, especially in our elementary and secondary levels. And we have a couple of goals that we want to start this year, especially with our weeding of our library materials. We have about 44,257 books, and 41,000 are at the Keach Family Library, and 3,095 are at the Bishop Library. And we need to start eliminating and weeding out the materials that are old. And by that meaning is that, we do get monies every year for books, but we did have, when we moved from the old library to the new library, we had a big loss. And in order for us to meet the needs for the Texas State Library and Archives Commission for grants, we need to have so many books. And when we deleted those books, we started asking for materials to keep our statistics high in our quantity of books in the library. So a lot of those books are old, and we need to, we had gotten a big donation from the lady from here in town. It was about 7,000 to 10,000 books, and so a lot of those books were old books. Of course, we needed them at the time, and we still do, because a lot of those books are good, but we need to start weeding all the books that are 20 to 30 years old, but we can't do it until we replenish the books that that we delete. And because if we delete them first, we'll be out of compliance with the state. So that's one thing that we really want to do. And then we also have our temporary staff that we keep losing because of the $7.50 or $7.75 an hour, and they move on to get paying jobs that have benefits. And we have also met our needs of our thin clients, our computers that the public access uses on a daily basis. And so we also, that'll be coming up in a minute. I'll go over my quantity of money that we're asking for in capital outlay. And I want to replace the ones slowly, gradually at the Bishop Library as well, and then to upgrade them. And of course, that'll be also to sustain them with the Microsoft and antivirus. And then another request that I also like to ask for is our library advisory budget had been eliminated, and Commissioner Longoria had reminded me, that we had not had any funds in our library advisory board. So if that can also be reinstated if possible. But I really appreciate your consideration. And moving forward, my first item is we are asking for at least $10,000 for our temporary staff to be increased from 40,000 possibly to from 40,000 to maybe 50,000. And then also for my other services, which would include the subscriptions and our books, would be from 50,000 to an additional 30. And that would,
Hey.
Yes, sir.
How much does it cost average cost per book? How many books can you buy? 50?
It depends. If they're the children's books, maybe $8 to $10 or $12, plus the fiction. And the fiction books are the ones that cost a little bit more, maybe $15, $20, and $25 sometimes. But then we also have our audiovisual materials that we order, and those could run between $20, $25, or $30. So, it just depends on the newer books. And then we also want to get a few of the reference or add additional, to the collection. And we have our subscriptions as well, because we also have a lot of subscriptions. If we don't have the books, we have subscriptions. So people can go online and look for anything online, whether it's a magazine article, a newspaper article. And so we also have that as a backup. And but that's pretty much, and books have gotten very expensive, and I have some figures in the handout that I gave you of how many how many books we have and the quantity. I think we have a total of $980,000 worth of books at the library. And at the Bishop, it's about 45. So we've got over $1 million worth of books. I mean, it's a lot, but, a lot of those books are, past the 10, 15, 20, 25 and beyond. And a lot of those books we're not going to get rid of, even though they're old, because they're classics and we're going to keep them. But, we do need to start slowly, and this is not we want to do it all at one time. We'll gradually start, deleting some of the books, but we can't do it until we get the books coming in first, and then, we delete, 5, 10, 15, 20,000, in the next 2-3 years.
What do you do with the book when you delete it? Do you
We try and donate them.
you what?
Donate them.
Okay.
We call a lot. There's a lot of this past 2-3 years. Laura has been doing a lot of community outreach with the little centers, and they always ask us for the magazines that we get rid of. They want magazines, or and if we have a lot of people still call us that they want to donate books, and we never tell them no. We still say yes, because some people bring in bags and boxes of new books, fiction, and we don't have them. We'll keep them, and if we have them, we'll send them to Bishop. So we're always still accepting donations, so that never ends, because those are still books that are coming in. Of course, some people try and bring us their trash, but we accept as much as we can.
Sure.
And but these are some of the issues that we've had that really are really we need to start taking care of. And if we go to our capital. On our capital, I'm asking for at least 10 computers for this coming fiscal year for the Keach Library, and then the following fiscal year another 10, and as well for Bishop. As Bishop, I'll be asking for 4 and 4 the following year as well. So that'll be a total of at least 14 and 14 for the next couple of years. And these are for the public access, and as well as some for the staff to keep us upgraded. And that'll include the Microsoft software and antivirus software, and then Laura has been trying to increase the youth, the YA groups, the youth, and to come into the library. And she had a grant this year, and we have an area. We used to have the Go Center, which that was a grant that we had gotten from TAMUCC. And she's made that area the youth, but we don't have any little furniture or nice, for the students to come in. And of course, we are having them come into the library, but they have to move chairs around or move things around. But we want to get a little ottoman and little sofa, so we can make that their little area, and hopefully bring them in to start having more authors come in, and have the children or the teens come in and do readings to increase their literacy for the area. So we're trying to do a lot of things, but we still need a few things to keep it going. And in my stats, I included the handout that I gave you. How many activities she's had for the past few years, and the daily patron counts that we've had for the past following years. And I also included on there how many computers we're checking out. So yearly, we're doing about 12,260 computers that the public access checks out, and that's on page 12 of the big handout that I gave you, 12 and 13. And some years, in 2010, we had up to 13,000 a year, which probably comes out to maybe 1,000 a month, or it just depends, varies from 800 to 1,000 of people who come in constantly to check out the computers, to either look up stuff for work, or just and especially now, I just want to say that we have been very privileged. When I received my grant last year for my laptops, we have been having a lot of people come in to learn how to use the computers, and we even have WorkSource, who has committed to come in at least once a month to have 2 classes. And we had a call the other day, and I shared it with WorkSource, and I let them know that one of the ladies had gotten a job, and she was real happy because she had been without work. So, we're trying to provide a lot of services that we weren't able to, but we have the space, we have the need, and we just want to expand and continue.
I told you the other day I was over there and just wandered in, and I was really pleased to see so many senior adults back in those computers, and a lot of it was a husband and a wife, and they were sitting there. But I believe you. The folks are taking advantage of a lot of the things that they never could have done before.
And what I'm looking for, Judge, is what we'll may be having in the future, especially working with WorkSource, because I know we may be having them all eventually, in another year or two. And but I know that with WorkSource, and they were very happy to partner with us. And we also partnered with the RIDC and the RADC. And right now we're still working with them because I took it to them so they could be my partner for the Robstown area development. And they've also helped Laura with funding during the year for her activities, and they were very happy to know that we're having these classes because a lot of their people are also coming in the evenings when we have our classes or during the day. So we're just trying to do as much as we can so we can partner with them, and they're trying to also look for more computers, especially for the training purposes. So
Okay.
that's pretty much it. Anybody has any questions?
Questions of Ida, please? Anybody?
Yeah, can you explain these collection counts?
Yes, sir. And let me get to my little paper.
You reference that in several places in here, and I apologize, I just don't know what that means.
That's okay. And I think that's the one that's color-coded in blue. Yes, and that shows you, Mr. Pusley, where the collection counts for 5 years. So we have 10,712 books that are between the ages of 0 to 5 years. And the 6 to 10 years, we have about 9,000 books. The 11 to 15 range, we have 5,136. And 16 to 20 years, we have about 2,700. And in the 21 plus years, we have 3,400. And then in the unknown age, we may have had some books that when they were being cataloged, they were missed or they didn't have it. So we're trying to go back, and the girls are trying to go back to reconfigure all those and try and get them in the right categories. But approximately we've got at least between 11 to 20 years, you're talking about 5, 6, 7, 8, probably 10 to 15,000 books that are beyond, the age limit of, what the state requires, which is at least 7 to 10 years is that they require that our collection be. But of course there's many books that are older. And in the next figure, it was the Bishop branch. They have about 430 books that are 0 to 5 and 686 to 10, and 11 to 15 years is 600 books, and 16 to 20 years is 420.
So item count really should say books.
Well, or items, because some of them may be audiovisual or DVDs.
So it's not necessarily books.
No, sir. No, sir. But pretty much, we really don't have very many audiovisual that are pretty much beyond the 5 years. They're pretty much the recent ones.
And on the your handout here, I guess the first part of it where you're talking about you have listed children, teens, adults, total.
Oh, the activities?
Yeah, I get. So that's the different activities that you're having.
Yes, sir. This is between the last fiscal year of October to September, the fiscal year, and at the very end, it'll give you what were the total of all her activities that she had throughout the year. Plus, some of them were some meetings that were held in the multipurpose room, like the constables' meetings. They had meetings there, and so we had 1,832 children that attended the activities for the year, and then the teens, 190, adults, 1,400, for a total of 3,467 on page 7.
Okay. And then your patron count,
Yes, sir.
is that just a reflection of how many people are coming into the library on
Yes,
any
sir.
given time?
Yes, and pretty much in 08, we had about 61,000 in 08, 09, and then in 9 and 10, we had about 38,000, and then in 11, we had 29,000, in 2012, about 48,000 people, and 12, 13, we had about 52,000, I'm sorry.
Okay, and all of these people are using services at the library, or are
Yes,
they
sir.
having meetings there, or?
Pretty much these are people who walk in the door, whether it be to come check out materials, whether it be books or attend a children's activity or use our Wi-Fi. We have a lot of people that love our Wi-Fi, so they even sit outside and,
Well, they bring their own computer and
Yes,
use
sir.
our Wi-Fi.
So that's one of the things that we're really, really a lot of
Yeah,
people.
I just get a little concerned about some of the stuff you're talking about, people using the computers. I mean, are we are we providing library services, or is this an internet cafe?
Oh, no. We are providing
That's-
services. Pretty much people who live in the area, they come in to use the computers for a specific topic or a specific project, or, they're working or looking up work source. I mean, we're providing hardcore, yeah.
Okay.
And especially now that we're entertaining them by teaching them how to use the computers, teaching them how to use Facebook, teaching them, basic Word, basic internet searching, they're learning how to use the calendars on Microsoft. So, I've got a lot of people who have really been touched by our classes, and, they've expressed the need, and so we're helping everybody in that area.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions of Ida, or what's going on? Well, once again, we thank you, and thank you for turning the light on for a lot
Sure.
of people.
I appreciate it. Have a good
Thank
day.
you very much. Thank you so much. Now, we have an hour.
Dr. Fernandez will be here about 10:15. So
Well, let's take a
we can-
little break.
we can
and
take a
then
break.
we'll come back
No, no.
here in about 15 minutes.
If it's late, it's late.
Stretch our legs, come right back.